Hey everybody, we're trying something new tonight, just waiting on it to find DJ, and we will get started. DJ, are you out there? Hey everybody, it's something new that we're doing, so give us just a second. There's DJ coming on. It's adding. We're coming in. There we go. There's DJ there, all the way from Corpus Christi, Texas. Hallelujah. DJ, did you get everything lined up?
Yeah. How does it sound?
Right. You sound good to me. You see, I know your mama's on there, your sister's on there. Somebody shoot a message. Can you hear DJ? DJ,
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
So this is new, guys. We're going to need your help. We ain't never done this before. Can somebody say if they can hear DJ? I'm pretty sure you can hear me. Kimberly Henry, we appreciate you. Eric Jones, everybody's saying yes. So, amen, hallelujah. Here we are, testimony night. I know we've changed the night around a few times. I went to North Carolina, and now we've been wanting to try to figure out how to get more people and try to get DJ on since DJ lives so far away from me. But we figured out this thing today, been working on it, and I want to give a shout out to Teresa Braden. Got me a new Buck God shirt. But this ain't about Randy, so I done gave DJ a heads up and a warning. Hey, we'd like to thank Stan and the Department of Tennessee Mental Health and Substance Abuse for allowing us to do this. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do this. They gave us the building and everything to do it. So without further ado, I am going to introduce my brother, my friend, and man, I'm so excited to hear from you, DJ. I can't wait. So I'm going to turn it over to DJ. DJ, I'm going to leave the room. Anybody out there, you'll just see the screen behind me, and I'll be back whenever DJ's done. DJ, I love you.
Love you too, buddy. Thank you. So, hey, everybody. My name is DJ Jones. I'm from Robbins, Tennessee in Scott County. I do now live in Corpus Christi, Texas. I work at the Roll-Off Men's Homes. As part of People's Baptist Church. We're a ministry down here that helps drug addicts. I want to thank Randy, one of my great friends. I want to thank him for allowing me to come on today. Randy's helped me through some many tough times in my life. He's been a great friend to me, and I thank him so much for allowing me to do this. But I got to talking to him earlier, and I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say things. If I can get the words out that I want to say, I've been nervous about it. And he said, just tell your story. And that's what I plan to do. I'm going into a little detail about some things that's happened in my life. Because I know there's people out there that just, they feel like nobody knows what they're going through. But I promise you, there's somebody that does. I may be one of them. I hope I can help you. I know there's a lot of people here at this ministry that might be able to help you. But anyway, so like I said, my name is DJ, and I'm from Scott County. I've lived there most of my life. I grew up in a Christian home. My parents divorced when I was younger, around 8 or 9, I believe. And I stayed with my dad most of the time, me and my sister. And I played sports. Sports was big for me. I played basketball. I loved it. Got in high school and wanted to hang out with all the kids, or all the cool kids and all my friends. And didn't see no wrong in it at the time. But I started sneaking around. I'd go hang out with a friend and say I was staying there. And next thing you knew, I was sneaking out, going to parties and different things. And as a kid in high school, you don't think, well, that's no big deal. But it was a decision that was going to take a big effect on my life later on, of many decisions. And I'm going to talk about some patterns that happen. But so I'd start sneaking around, going to parties and stuff and having a good time and just, a little fun. And well, I graduated high school, and after all the sports and all that stuff was gone, I started trying to hang out with friends outside of school. And I can remember going to a friend's house, and we were sitting there drinking a few beers and playing video games, and no big deal. And this person, I can remember they introduced me to marijuana for the first time. And me, I didn't know what marijuana was. I didn't know what it looked like. Couldn't tell you anything about it. All the way through high school, I didn't know anything. That wasn't in my life. I wasn't raised that way. And I remember him introducing it to me and him saying, hey, I was like, what is this? And he's like, oh, well, it'll make you high. And I was like, I don't even know what high is. What is that? Um, and so, of course, I tried it, just wanting to fit in, have a good time. And little did I know that that was going to start circulating into bigger things. But I enjoyed it, I had a good time at that time. And later on, I wanted to do it again. And the next weekend came. I remember going back and hanging out with the same people and trying it again. And then it went from doing it just that weekend to going and wanting to do it during the week. And I can remember doing it during the week and wanting to smoke it. And um, it became an everyday thing. And you think, some people look at it as, oh, it's just pot, it's not a big deal, but it's a huge deal. For one, pot's not great for you, it's not good for you at all, but that can lead to so many other things, and people don't see that, even if it's way later down the road. But, and I'm the type that if I do one thing, I want to keep going and going and doing more and more. It's just, I was always looking for something better, something greater. Um, and anyway, so I started smoking pot, and um, I started doing it when I was going to work. I started doing it before I went into work, and people started noticing. I lost my first job. I worked at Great Day at the time. My dad helped me get a job there, and I ruined it. Started getting high in the parking lot before I went in, and people started noticing I lost my job. And then later on, I could remember going out town with some people, smoking pot, drinking, and they introduced me to a pill. And they was talking about snorting it, doing all this stuff, and they didn't tell me that was going to be something that was going to take me down a road that I didn't want to go down. They didn't tell me that. I heard Randy say last week, they don't tell you all the bad things about it, but they don't. They tell you, oh, it's good, it's a good time, it's a good time, and I just wanted to fit in. I like to be liked. That's just me. I want people to love me and like me, because I guess I can remember getting bullied some in high school or in middle school and high school some too, and I just wanted to fit in. And so I did appeal for the first time, and it started from there. And it was just I started doing them the same way like I did with pot. It was here and there, and then occasionally one more and more, and it really grabbed a hold of me. It became so bad I couldn't keep a job. I started losing money all the time. I couldn't keep money. And I can remember once going to a drug dealer's house and going to get my fix. I remember seeing a guy in a corner, and he was using a needle. I'll never forget this. I seen him using a needle, and I thought, man, how low can you be? What kind of person would do that, I was like, I don't even remember that. I don't think I ever even seen the guy again. Don't even know him. I remember, how low can you be to do something like that? Why would anybody want to stick a needle in their arm? Well, wasn't too much longer. Old DJ had some bad times in his life, and had a girl come into his life, and things didn't work out, and he got all depressed. And what did he do? He wanted to get higher. He wanted to fix that void that was in his life, and him being all hurt and all, he wanted something to numb the pain. So instead of snorting, someone introduced him to using a needle. And what did I do? I tried it. And that took me down such a terrible road that it's so hard to explain. Like, why would I don't know how to explain it, but that was extremely hard for me. Um, once you get like that, it's just something that you can't control, no matter how hard you try. Um, so I got on the needle for about 2 years while I was doing pills, um, and in 2013, I decided to get help. It wasn't me, actually. It was my sister and my mom and my dad and everybody pushing me to get help. I got in a bind. I got in trouble with the law a few times, and I wanted to get out of it. I wanted out of my situation, and they mentioned rehab, so I took them up on their offer. And they mentioned the roll-off homes, which is where I'm at now. But this was about 6 years ago, and so I came down here. It was a 9-month program, which is what it still is. And I went to church growing up, but I didn't really know much about God and the Lord and the Bible and all that. And when I came down here, I learned a lot. They teach you how to, well, you get away from everything that you're in, but they show you the Bible and show you how to learn it and read it and learn more about it. And I learned a lot about the Bible, but the thing is, about the first time I came, I didn't apply any of it to my life. I knew about God and I knew who God was, but I didn't trust God in my life. And so I did the 9-month program, and I ended up going home, and I thought I had it whooped, 9 months sober. DJ's doing great. Everybody's so proud of DJ, my family, my church members, everybody just lifted me up, saying how proud they were of me, and I guess it was a little bit of pride because I was proud, They was all giving me pats on the back, and it felt good. And when I got home, they gave me a great party, and it was amazing. And I was grateful for it, but eventually, all them pats on the back kind of wore off. And within a month or two, DJ got back within himself, and people weren't sitting there, "Hey, you're doing great, you're doing great." He was back to reality, and DJ's just DJ. And I can remember I moved to my mama was in Morgan County because I wanted to get away from Scott County. That's where I was. I was somewhat trying um, to stay clean. Um, the thing with me though is I wanted my family and everybody to think I was doing really well, but deep down I think DJ still wanted to go and get high. Um, so I went and stayed with my mama, and a church member helped me get a job at a machine shop down there, and I did well for a good while. And then I met a worker there that, he started doing smoking pot. And I can remember um, I tried to avoid it at first, but then I had a bad day. That's what always happened with me, is a bad day would come along, and it was easy to say yes to that. But I had a bad day, and he's like, "Hey, this will knock the edge off," and so here we sit in his truck smoking some weed and knocking the edge off, and I can remember I felt kind of bad about it. I was like, I've been sober for so long. What's people going to say? Well, then I didn't feel bad too long, because the next day I was like, "Hey, man, let me get some more of that. Let me do that again." And here it was, another pattern of me going back and doing these things. And because every time DJ would fall and get back up, DJ would always seem to find his way back into it when times got hard, because that's what I always did. I ran from my problems all the time. Um, I didn't know how to deal with them. That was the only way I knew how to, or I wanted to actually. Um, so I started smoking weed. Next thing I knew, happened. I always shied away for many days. Um, I wouldn't talk to my family. I'd get real distant. They knew. I thought I was hiding it from them, but they knew what I was doing. That's just something you just really can't hide, no matter how slick or condescending you think you are. Um, they see it all over you. Definitely the ones that care about you. Um, but I can remember going back to Scott County. I started doing hills again and getting high and staying distant away from my family. And I can remember one time they told Randy about it. Man, it just killed me because I met Randy the first time I was in rehab. He worked down here for about 2 years, and they told him about it. He wanted to come talk to me. I was so ashamed I didn't want to go talk to him, because Randy was doing good, and I didn't want him to know I messed up. But little did I know, Randy just wanted to help and encourage me. But when we mess up, we know we mess up. We just go and hide and are ashamed because that's as humans, that's what we want to do. So I said all that to say this. I'll really get in detail in my story now, but wasn't long after doing that. I think I started dating another girl, and I got real hurt. And I wanted something to numb the pain again because, like I said, it's a pattern. DJ wants to go to something worse and worse every time to numb his pain. And a guy introduced me to meth. And this was a point in my life that really changed. Meth took over my world and took me further than I ever wanted to go. I can remember when I first did meth, I started smoking it, and I hung out with these people at their trailer for days at a time. And with meth, it keeps you up, and it makes you all dilated, and anybody that's on it, you can tell. And I knew there was no hiding it from my family, so I'd stay gone for days at a time and make up excuses. And I remember once, I've been doing it for about a month or two, I guess, and at this time, it don't take long on meth. You get in and it'll change you real quick. I hadn't been on it for about a month or two, I guess. I had nowhere to stay, really. My mom wouldn't let me stay there because she knew I was on drugs, and none of my family would. And I remember my grandma, I call her Nan, she let me stay there for a day or two. And I was fixing to leave to go to work, do cable, and for a few days. And I was hard up and I didn't have no money. I was jonesing to do some more meth, and I can remember I was going to go to my grandma's house to go steal some change to get my fix before I went find anything to get some money somehow. And she wasn't there at the time. She was at the hospital. She lived by herself. And I remember going there and looked around. I found this old pistol. And I didn't think it was just an old beat up pistol. I didn't think nothing about it. I didn't think it mattered much to anybody. I was like, well, nobody will miss this. So here I went. I took this pistol and I went with the people I was working with, and I knew this drug dealer in Athens, Tennessee, on the way to Georgia, and stopped by and showed it to him. He gave me $100 worth to go for the gun. So I went on to work and did my thing, and within hours later, I get a text from my family. They're like, hey, what'd you do with that pistol? What'd you do with that pistol? They already knew I took it, because I guess it was evident. I left the drawer open and all that. And I never was a person to really steal. That wasn't my thing. And I can remember I stole that. And they kept asking, it's like, hey, just tell us where it's at. That was your grandpa's memorial. It's a keepsake to him, it meant a lot to him. And I can remember them asking me, hey, where it's at. We don't care. We ain't going to get mad. We just want to get the gun back. That's all we care about. And I felt so bad. I can remember just sitting there and I was like, oh man, I didn't know this. and I wanted to find a way to get it back. And I texted the guy I sold it to, and he's like, "Man, I done sold it to this guy," and he's like, "There's no way of getting it." And just the shame that came over me all of a sudden, even being high, I was miserable. I never felt so ashamed in my life of something that I'd done, um, because I knew that I couldn't replace that. That was something that meant a lot to my grandma, and that was something I would never be able to fix. And that was the start of a very, very low point in my life. I guess at that point, when you feel that low and that shame, you just, I didn't care no more. I felt like the lowest person on earth, and I didn't care what anybody thought no more. And I was just going to go deep in. And even when I came here for years, I still lived with that regret, and my family may never forgive me for that. And I hope they have. But if not, it's okay, because in 1 John 1:9, God says, if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins. I lived with shame and guilt for stuff like that for a long time. But God forgave. I'm thankful for that. But anyway, to continue on, I wasn't too long. I was going to stay with my mom in Wattenberg. She let me stay with her because I had nowhere else to go. And I went back to Scott County to get me some drugs. And I had to go to court later on. And when I went to court, well, I got a job with the railroad, a really great job. Within 2 months after that, I'd been staying with my mama again, and I'd cleaned up some for about 2 months after I got out of jail. And I can remember getting that job and starting. And then the court allowed me to, since I was working out of town in Charlotte, they allowed me to come back and serve 10 days. And it was okay with my work. I did that. They were fine with it. So a month later, I came in to do my 10 days and serve in Morgan County Jail. And I went, and of course, no one likes jail. You're just in a cell with 1 or 2 people locked up. And I can remember my family would come and see me and stuff. But when I got put in jail, and I was doing, decent, I got put in jail with a meth cook. And, that's, I believe that's the devil. I don't know. But what little bit I knew about meth changed dramatically in those 10 days. This guy taught me anything and everything there was to know about meth, how to cook it, how to make it, how to sell it, where to get it. And it just drastically changed my life. And it didn't right then, because, the guy told me where to go. He gave me an address. I just stuck it in my wallet. I didn't think nothing about it, because I was doing pretty good, dude. I was making really good money. So I left when I got out. I served my 10 days and went home. And then I think the following day I went back to work in Charlotte, and things were going good. I worked 21 days off 7. And excuse me. I started, I would drink some when I was at work, but I didn't think it was a big deal. I wasn't doing drugs, so that was good. My family was talking to me a little bit then, and it wasn't long. I'd come in one trip, hang out with friends and family, go back. And I remember it's about 1 or 2 weekends later, I had a bad week. And that's always when I decided I was going to go back to doing drugs. Was when I had a bad day or a bad time. I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. Because if anybody that knows me, I'm a really emotional person. Um, but I just didn't know how. And I came in for the weekend. I was hanging out with some friends, and then I kept pondering on that address that guy gave me when I was in jail about where to go to get it. And you mentioned Deer Lodge, you know, and I'd only been Deer Lodge one time in my whole life. And so I had a bad weekend. I decided I was going to go out there. And I drove out to this address, and the guy wasn't there, but this girl was. And got talking to her, and within 3 hours, I knew 2 meth cooks and a meth dealer, all within 10-mile radius. And well, I got what I went there looking for. Ended up getting high, and this lady that I was hanging around with introduced me to the needle doing meth, and it completely took over my life. I couldn't control it at all. I fell in love with it, and it was something that was just uncontrollable. Um, I remember staying up for about a week at a time. I wouldn't sleep, I wouldn't eat. I would just get high and go do whatever, stay out of it. And so anyway, I had me a truck at this time. I bought a full-size Chevrolet, and I was going down there to get me a fix before I went back to work. And this was just shortly after I met all these people, within a week or two. Um, and when I did, um, I pulled over into a guy's yard to use my phone before I ran out of service in Deer Lodge. And it was late at night. It was dark. I pulled over, and there was a house behind me. I didn't know it. I thought it was just like an old turnaround spot. But there was a house behind me, and this guy comes out with his flashlight, and he starts pointing it at my truck. So I turn my truck on, I turn around, and I try to get out of there, and he starts shooting at me. He shoots at my truck, and then he shoots the side of it. And so I speed out trying to get away, and then he shoots my back glass out. So I get on the highway, and I start going down the road, and trying to catch my breath because, of course, someone getting shot at you, you don't know what to do. So I'm trying to gather myself, catch my breath, and all of a sudden this car comes behind me and starts shooting at me, and it was those same people. So we drove about 5 miles down through Deer Lodge. I was trying to run away from them, scared to death. And I get down about 5 or 6 miles later, I hit a guardrail, smash the front of my truck up, keep going a little bit, and there's a trailer there. I'm at the bottom of the hill, so I pull my truck over there, jump out, and I run behind this trailer, across the ditch line, and I just jump into a big briar patch, trying to hide because I was scared for my life. These people shot at me. They unloaded about 12 to 14 rounds. They shot at my back headrest, my back window. They shot a door, or they shot a bullet in between the 2 doors that was head level, that an inch either way, and it probably would have killed me. But it was the grace of God, and I know that. Because God, like I hear my preacher say, God saved my life many times before he saved my soul. And so I'm hiding in this briar patch, and these people are looking for me with their flashlights. And finally they drive away, and the cops show up, because there's a smashed truck, and these people call the law, and they're looking for me. And I just laid there for about 45 minutes until finally I thought these people were gone and weren't going to shoot me. I stood up, and told the cops who it was. And I think they knew that, I probably was high or trying to get high or whatever, but they didn't do nothing. They just took me to the police station. My grandparents came and picked me up. So I went back. I stayed home for about a week, so I didn't have a vehicle. And my mama helped me get a rental car. And I got this rental car. I went back to work. I got it fixed before I went back to work. And I was at work for 3 or 4 days. I hadn't slept. On the 4th or 5th day, I was so out of my head that I started seeing things, and I decided, and I got paranoid. I didn't want to go into work. I stayed in a little trailer off the job site, And I can remember my head foreman, the superintendent, I called him and told him I couldn't make it. And he said, well, uh, I told him that. I said, hey, the cops are out here. They're around my house. They're trying to get me. You know, I can't come into work. And he's like, well, I'll come out there and check it out. And he came out there and he looked around. You know, when he knocked on the door, came in the house. He said, son, there's nobody here. He said, there's not been nobody here. And I even asked the neighbor. And then he looked me dead in the eye because he could see that my eyes were lifeless, and I've been really high and out of it for days. And he said, son, you need to get help and you need to go home and you're fired. And I said, okay, you know, he was a good Christian man, and I didn't, you know, fight him or nothing. I just quit. And so I stayed in my trailer there for a day or two, and then I ended up driving home. Well, I didn't go home. I bypassed my home. I got my last check worth $800. I went straight to Deer Lodge, and I started getting high again. I'd already been up for 4 or 5 days in Charlotte. I drove home. I ended up staying up for about 14 days. No sleep, not eating. I was so out of my head by the end of it. But I took my rental car. I drove it. I've been driving it around different places. And one night I decided I was going to start driving as fast as I could around some back roads in Deer Lodge. I jumped a stop sign, hit a ditch, and jumped in some guy's yard at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I can remember wrecking the car and it wouldn't start back up. And I'm sitting there like, oh, well, what am I going to do? You know, they're going to get me. They're going to, you know, I'm going to go to jail if they catch me here. So I took the keys out of the car. I got all my drugs. I got my 2 needles, and I ran. And I can remember just leaving the car there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I took off hitting the woods and just going wherever I could. So that was 5 or 6 days I'd been up, and then the next 5 or 6 days I spent just in the woods. I can remember running into some guy's barn, staying there out of the rain. I can remember crashing at some guy's house in their bathroom on an old mattress. Just different places. I can remember being in an old field and putting my hands behind my back, telling the cops to come and get me, thinking that they were just going to grab me up and they were after me, but there was nobody there because I was so hallucinated and out of my mind because I've been up for so long on meth. And eventually, I guess at some point in all this, I kind of came to, and there was a gas station because my phone didn't work, of course. There was a gas station down in Deer Lodge and Glades, and they let me use the phone. I called my mom to come get me, and of course she came and got me. She usually always came running, and she took me home. I remember we sat there for a little bit, and you know she was trying to feed me and give me water and stuff because I hadn't ate or drink in so long. And I can remember sitting there for probably 30 minutes to an hour, and my mom and papa showed up, and I didn't know it at the time. You know, I thought they were just coming to hang out, but they were all trying to come to talk to me to try to get me to get help. And I can remember going around the house, looking at light bulbs, looking at different things, saying there was cameras and everybody's out to get me, and really there was just nothing there. It was just me and my paranoia from all the drugs I'd been and how high I was. And my mom couldn't get me to calm down, and nobody could do nothing with me. And I didn't know it, but my mom lived about 100 yards from the jailhouse. And my papa, he walked over and talked to him, and I guess he told him a story about me, and he had the cops come over. And when they did, the cops had come over, and let me back up. I went out the door of the garage. My papa was back at this time. I didn't know where he'd been, but I remember going out the door of the garage. It was late at night, and there's a garage door here, you know, and then the house door. And I went out the garage door, and I'm talking to my papa, and he's trying to get me to calm down. All of a sudden, I see 2 cops come around the side here, and then 2 over here. I'm like, I start freaking out and I start cussing them. I'm like, hey, what's going on? They start trying to calm me down, asking me my name and stuff. And, once they start getting closer, I try to turn around and run to the door. And I can remember my papa. He stood there crying with his hand on the door, holding the door where I couldn't get in. And I know that had to be a hard time for him. I didn't know it then, of course, but I look back at it now and anyway, they came and got me and they took me to jail. And of course, when you're in jail, you just cry and beg and plead, say you'll do anything to get out. I'll change, just get me out. I'll help, I'll do whatever you want. And well, anyway, my mom ended up finding a way to get the money to help me get out. And I got out, and when I got out, I didn't have nobody, nowhere, no money, no car, no nothing. I was at my mom's. I had no way of doing anything. And I can remember sitting there for, it seemed like 2 months, weeks, and I didn't do anything. I was depressed. I was so depressed. I hated my life. I was miserable. I wanted to die. It was such a terrible state, And I can remember weeks and weeks at a time. I'd sit there, I'd watch TV, or I'd go outside and just stare outside. I'd text friends or people I thought were friends, and nobody'd come hang out with me. Nobody wanted nothing to do with me. Why would you? I was gone. I just. And I remember Shauna. She always wanted to help. She always tried to encourage me to get a job, and she. My family, they always like, hey, you need to get a job. I didn't want to do nothing. I can remember I just hated life. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted life to end. And I remember finally I ended up getting a job. Or no, I went and my dad let me stay with him for a little bit, because I hadn't done anything. I stayed sober for a little bit. And he, if I did good, he let me stay with him. I did good for a while, and then I got a job doing some road construction. My dad had built a car, a Nissan Altima, and he had helped me with it helped me get in it. He was going to sell it to me. So I got this job, and wasn't long. DJ got a car and got money, and that's all it took. And like always, that pattern came back. I always went to, it didn't matter what it was, no matter how good I had it, what God blessed me with, I always seemed to go back to it, no matter how bad it was. I just spent 2 months in depression wanting to die, and life was starting to change a little bit, but what did I do? As soon as I get money in my pocket in a vehicle, I run back to it, and here I go again. I started doing meth again, and it wasn't long. I got fired from that job. And I can remember my dad found out that I'd been using again. And he texted me one day and he said, son, your stuff's out in the building. You can't come in. You can go get your stuff. Anybody knows me, I've always been close to my father. And that broke my heart. My dad was always real. He's a great dad. If you listen, Dad, I'm really sorry for the things I did. But yeah, he wouldn't let me in his house. He put all my stuff out in the building, said he can get it there. And anyway, I'm gonna continue on. But wasn't long after that, my sister, she was pregnant with her first baby boy. And I've been staying at my mom's again because that's the only person that let me stay when I was um, in that stage, because she just didn't want me on the streets. And I stayed with my mom, and my sister was pregnant with my little nephew Grayson at the time, and she's fixing to go into labor, and I'd been up for days in my room, strung out, and I didn't even know it was the day she's giving birth. And everybody's going to the hospital, and here I am in my room, all out of it. And so my mom tells me, "Hey, we're going to the hospital. You need to go." So a few hours later, I decided I was going to try to get myself together and try to hide everything where people don't notice and get going to the hospital. And I can remember going up there, and I waited around the waiting room forever, waiting, for little Grayson to come along. And I can remember being so paranoid about what people think about me. All the family was there, and Brian's family and his mom and dad. I was like, man, they're all gonna know, I'm high and all this, and they knew. I was right. They knew, but no one ever said anything. They just loved me. But I can remember Shauna finally had Grayson. He was finally born, and everybody was fixing to go back there to go see him. And when they all went to go see him, I had to go get my fix because it had been a while. So I didn't even go see him when he was born. I waited till after he was born to make sure everything went good, and I decided to run home, or I said I was going home. On the way home, I stopped in Oak Ridge, and I knew a dealer there, and stopped and got me a fix. But later on, we tried to numb the pain and numb our feelings with drugs and stuff, but you don't numb it. You just make it worse. You just put it on hold, because the pain and the guilt and all that's still right there waiting on you when you're sober. I remember Grayson had been born for a month, and I'd been so high that I wouldn't even go see him because I didn't want people to see me the way I was. A month, how low could somebody be? My sister was my best friend. She was always there for me. Even in all the hard times, she was always there. Now, my wife, I'm married now. My wife is my best friend, but my sister's my biggest fan. She's seen everything I went through, and I couldn't even be there for her first baby being born. But it wasn't long after that, all that guilt and shame caught up with me, and I can remember I finally decided I wanted to get help because I just couldn't take it no more, and I wanted to go back to the roll-off homes because I knew it was a good place, and so finally I decided to go. I came down here in July or June 22nd of 2017. I'd been down here for a little while, and I remember telling the pastor, I was like, I just want a good woman in my life. That'll change me. I wasn't thinking about God changing my life. I just thought a good woman would do it, because I always thought that for some reason. And but God wasn't going to give me God wasn't going to give me a woman in my life until He seen I was committed to Him. And I can remember I'd been here for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it started getting hard, and I didn't want to do it no more, because that's what happened, DJ, with me. When things got hard, I quit and I ran. So after 3 or 4 weeks, I decided, well, I'm done. I want to go home. And so I left here, and they took me to the bus station. I was going to try to get home, and I called everybody, my family, every friend I could think of, and I asked them, I was like, hey, can you help me get home? I had $50. I just wanted to get home. I was like, oh, I can do it. I've been sober for a month. I can go home and be good. And Randy, thank God he did this, but Randy knew. He called everybody in my family they could think of, and he knows most of them. But he called them on. He said, don't help them get home. It'll be the biggest mistake you ever made. And they did it. I sat on the street for about 3 days. But after about the first day, of me realizing my family wasn't going to come get me, what did DJ do? He went and messed up again. I decided, well, nobody's going to come get me, and it's hot down here, so I'm going to go get me a beer. And I did. I walked around to the bars and went drinking and doing different things, and used the $50 I had. And I remember I got drunk that night and slept on a park bench down here in Corpus Christi in the middle of summer. And if anybody knows Corpus, it's one of the hottest places ever, definitely in the middle of July. But I can remember sleeping on that park bench, and my sister talked to me the next day to make sure I was okay. And I was carrying around everything I owned, and I had a suitcase with me. It weighed about 50 pounds. I carried literally everything I owned to my name in that suitcase. And I carried it around for about 2 days. And the Lord really started working on me. And I really, truly believe He broke me on that last day. Because I sat there and I just like, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing with my life? And finally, I got broke, and I told my sister I'd go back. And I just got honest with myself, is really what I did. You know, I realized that I have a problem and I need help, you know. And besides lying to my sister, my family, you know, about what it was, I just was honest, you know. And I can remember I called my pastor, the guy that's over the ministry, and I asked if he'd come get me, and he came running, you know, because he's just a loving man like that, if anybody knows him. But he showed up, and I'd been in flip-flops, a cut-off, and shorts, and I'd been out in the hot sun for 2 days. I looked like a lobster because I was fried, and I smelled like a brewery. I'd been out sweating and drunk, and I got in the preacher's truck, and you know, he said, "Hey, how you doing?" He said, "Son, you been drinking?" I said, "Yes, sir, I have." And I can remember saying that to him, and thinking, it feels good to just be honest. I didn't care anymore. I just wanted to be honest with somebody about what I was going through. And I didn't try to say, "Oh, no, I ain't been drinking," you know, to make it sound better. I said, "Yes, sir, that's what I've been doing." And he didn't say, "Well, under God, you know, or, you know, you're going to hell," or whatever, you know. He just said, "Okay." And he just loved on me, you know, because that's what I needed. I just needed somebody to love on me. Now, that ain't the answer to everything, but that's really what helped me. He loved on me, and, you know, he told me the consequences of it, of restarting a program, and that's what I did. I went back, and God finally broke me, and I started trying to apply the things that I had learned through the Bible. And about 2 weeks later, I had went to church. The pastor preached on a message, and I'll never forget this message as long as I ever live. But he preached out Daniel 3:18. And in the book of Daniel, it talks about in Daniel 3, he talks about a king called Nebuchadnezzar. And King Nebuchadnezzar had a golden image that he wanted everybody to worship, you know. Everybody that was under him, all the people, he said that they must worship it. And when they play this music, he wants them to worship it. And he had people that worked under him, and there was three Jews named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And all the people of the kingdom said, "Hey, these people, you know, they don't want to worship your golden image." And King Nebuchadnezzar was raging mad, you know. He said, "Everybody will." And he said, "Anybody that don't is going to be cast into the fiery furnace." And back then, this big fiery furnace was just what I imagined. It's just this huge, big, burning fiery furnace with flames, you know, and you get thrown into it and you're crisp, you know. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I'm going to read a little bit of it here if you don't mind. But in Daniel 3, it says, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, 'O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. He said, if it be so, if you throw him into the fiery pit, he said, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. He said, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. And those three words, but if not, they changed my life. Randy's, but God changed Randy's life, and I love to see it. I love to see how it's changed so many and the testimony he has. But the words, but if not, helped me tremendously, because in that message, he says, I know that God is able to deliver us out of this fiery furnace. But even if he doesn't, I'm still going to praise him, and I'm still going to worship him. I'm not going to worship that God. And the message I got out of that is, God's able to deliver me from these drugs and the things going on in my life and all the problems I have. But if he don't, I still got to serve him, because he's worthy. And that really, really helped me tremendously. And I had a different outlook on life from there on. And wasn't long that the Lord started working on me. I thought I was saved for many years because I was around Christian people and I'd been to church and all this stuff, but I wasn't really saved. And I found out a few weeks later because I woke up one morning and I was under conviction. And I remember David, the director of the homes now, he was in the homes with me then. I went up to him and I said, hey, I'm really struggling, and there's just a lot I'm going through, and I just don't know if I'm saved. And so he decided, well, let's call it Brother Lindley. And when anybody that knows Brother Lindley, he's a real humble man of God, and older man that comes here and preaches on Wednesdays, and I think the world of him. This was at like 6:30, 7 in the morning, and he came right away. He lived 30 minutes away, and he got here in about 40 minutes. And he showed up, and we went to the barber shop and started talking, and I can remember we just sat and I talked about my feelings to him. I was like, I think I'm saved. I don't know. I know, I know who God is, and that was what pointed it out to me. He said, there's so many people that know God and they believe there's a God, but there's not everybody trusts God. There's so many people in this world that believe that there's a God because they say, in God we trust, or whatever. They believe that there's a God, but they don't have God as Lord over their life. And that's the difference. I know a lot of people that know there's a God. There's a lot of sinners out there and unsaved people that know there's a God, but they ain't got him as Lord over their life. And he explained that to me, and anyway, that day I ended up giving my life to God, and I got saved. And the next 2 months, my mindset changed. Not this miraculous, wonder thing happened when I got saved, but just my mindset of how I looked at things. I started looking at things with a positive attitude, and just trying to look at things better. I was such a negative person because I was in such defeat and hopeless all the time. But God took so much guilt from me. When I got saved, I just confessed it all. I got tired of holding that weight of just guilt and shame, and I got honest with myself, and man, I tell you, I started feeling so much better. I started getting honest with my family and my friends, and that's what really changed my life, was just getting honest. And anyway, it wasn't long after that, the woman I'd talked about for a long, long time, I've been wanting, God finally had blessed me with her. I was still in the homes, I wasn't allowed to talk to her, but God laid her on my heart, she was the Spanish pastor's daughter at the time. And anyway, I graduated the program, and me and her started talking. And wasn't long we started dating, and a year later we got married. And now that this past April, I've been married a year now. I have a little baby on the way. I have, I have a vehicle. I'm not running to go get drugs all the time. I have a home that the Lord's blessed me with here with my wife. Uh, I have more than I could ever ask of or deserve to have from anybody. And I'm happy with what I have. And the Lord gave me hope again. He gave me contentment. And He blessed me so much. And if there's anybody out there that is struggling with addiction or hope, or excuse me, I'm sorry, my nose is running, but if it's struggling with problems they're going through, I can tell you, man, there's a God that can change your life. God is good. I work now down here at this ministry called the Roll-Off Homes. You can probably see the sign behind me. We take in addicts that struggle. I guess you can call me a leader or an assistant here. And all we do is we bring people in, give them a way to escape from, get away from where they're at, the place they're in, give them a place to get away from all that stuff. We just love on them and show them the Bible. We don't force it down their throat, anything like that. We just kind of show them different ways they can get away from all that through the Bible. And we want to help people. I want to help people. That's what God's given me a heart to do. Randy, I see what he's done drastically, how God's worked through him in Scott County. And, I want to help people as well. I stayed down here because, I just didn't feel like I needed to go back to Tennessee. I started a new life here. Yeah, I have some great family there, but God gave me a heart for this place. And we want to help people. I know with all this pandemic going on, with the coronavirus, things have been slow, but we are opening back up to taking people in. So if you know anybody struggling, give me a call. My number is 361-793-8850. I know some other people you can call, the director, David, or the pastor, E.S. Mitchell. We'd love to help you. We just want to help you get away and find the truth. Get honest with yourself. Find God in your life and know that there's hope. Because God is hope. He's love. And we just want to be able to help you. I'm sorry it took so long. I really hope that I was able to help somebody along the way. Sorry for tearing up and snotting up, There's just some things that, I'm really grateful for. And thanks for listening. And all right, Randy, I'm ready back for you, man.
Hey, man. Brother, I guarantee you one thing. I know you've been a help to a lot of people. And I wish I would just be able to give you a hug, tell you I love you, and come a long way from showing up at my house and sleeping on the couch for man, and I just felt so broken for you. And sometimes when your friends and your family come to you, sometimes you got to tell them stuff you don't want to tell them. It was hard for me to tell DJ that he couldn't hang out with me. That's hard for me because I'm like DJ. I want people to love me. I want people to, and that's hard to have a friend and tell them that they couldn't hang out at your house. But I know one thing more than anything is that I cannot be around it, and I know that. And I remember talking to DJ and said, "Hey, man, you never know. You might just go down there and find a woman." And I don't know where that comes from because I don't know how we thought you could find a woman in a men's home in Corpus Christi, Texas. Tell you what, I know a man who does know how to do it. And when I listen to story, I just remember DJ talking about always wanting something and always searching. And DJ's story went to a new level with each breakup, with each bad situation. DJ went to turning it up. And the reason is because that wasn't who he was supposed to be with. And now that DJ's turned his life over to God all the way, he's went all in. God's gave him that wife. God's gave him a kid on the way. God's gave DJ a purpose in his life.
Amen.
To be honest with you, I'm still getting to know this new DJ. And he's an amazing guy. He's strong as an ox. I hate that about him. But he's a good person, and he loves to help people. And that place loves to help people. It's a special place. And again, I'm crying to you anyway. Thanks, Stan, Department of Mental Health Substance Abuse, Roll-Off Homes. If you know anybody in Scott County, I guarantee somebody they know has been through Roll-Off Homes. That place has been a help to more people. I'm working on a list. They're working on me a list to get of everybody from Scott County that's been down there. And I promise you, it amazed you on it, DJ. And there's a lot of people from here that's been down there. And we want to get that list. And we've got something special. I don't even know if DJ knows this yet or not. But next week, I'll be coming to you live from Roll-Off Homes in Corpus Christi.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
I get to go back home again. Stan and the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse has made a way for me to come down. And the pastor of the Roll-Off Homes, E.S. Mitchell, will be sharing his story, his testimony.
Awesome.
And what a blessing, DJ. What a blessing. So I get to be home with family. So, hey, everybody be sure to tune in. We got an all recovery meeting fixing to kick off in here right now. And we're going to go in. But everybody like, comment, share this to you friends. I know a lot of you's done have. And let DJ know that was real. And he got down and dirty with you. I want you to let him know how much it's appreciated. DJ, I love you. And you'll be hearing from you in a few days. Okay, brother?
Thank you. Love you, buddy.
Thank you. Love you.
See you, man.